everyone, welcome back to another episode of Everything Gators Football Edition with your host, Corey Ears. This episode, I was going to do another list of coaches and their pros and cons and how combined with the University of Florida, they could win a national championship soon. But it hit me. Why not look in a different direction? Why be part of this cat and mouse? This coach is fired. This coach is still employed. What's this person's buyout? What's this person's this? What's person this? We still have 5 games left on our schedule. Why don't we look at what we have right now? We have a new head coach. He's an interim, which is fine. His name's Billy Gonzales. I've got no qualms with Billy Gonzales. Maybe if Billy Gonzales goes 3-2 in the next 5 games, we look at him as a potential replacement for Billy Napier. If he goes 4-1, 110% you do. If he goes 2-3, we'll see what the offensive production is. And I'd like to get into that. Billy Gonzales, he wants to spread the offense out, which inherently spreads the defense out and gives him more of an opportunity to get the ball in his playmakers' hands in as much room as possible. To put a cornerback on an island or get, a slot receiver one-on-one with a linebacker or whatever the case may be, depending on the play, on both sides of the ball. But if you don't know that much about Billy Gonzales, let's get into it. In 2001, he joined up with 2 fellas that we know well at the University of Florida, Urban Meyer and Dan Mullen at Bowling Green. He was with them from 2001 and 2002 and then left with them when they left for Utah. He coached special teams and wide receivers at Utah. So he left Utah with Urban and Dan, won 2 national championships with Florida as recruiting coordinator and wide receivers coach. He left for brief stints with LSU and Illinois. Then he linked back up with Dan Mullen in Mississippi State, where he was co-offensive coordinator and wide receivers coach. He's predominantly been a wide receivers guy, but everywhere he's gone, wide receivers, quarterbacks have had a good connection, and they've done very well, except for under Billy Napier. He came back to Florida in 2018 through 21 as co-offensive coordinator, wide receivers coach, passing game coordinator, and wide receivers coach. Left for 1 year to Florida Atlantic, came back to Florida. One thing that I do really like about him is he will run a version of the spread offense that succeeded here under Urban Meyer and Dan Mullen. We always talk about bringing in guys that live up to the Gator standard, that bleed orange and blue. Why don't we look at a guy that's on our staff right now as our interim head coach that's in his 16th year with the Florida Gators and bleeds orange and blue? He preaches the Gator standard. He can't help but be focused on the attention to detail that it will take to make this team win. That's all he wants to do is win with this team. I don't see why we don't give him a fair shot. If you watched his press conferences at all, and that didn't get you fired up a little bit, better check your pulse. But anywho, I wanted to look at the guys underneath him because people were talking about why maybe it wasn't Billy Napier's fault because Russ Callaway isn't calling plays as offensive coordinator under Billy Gonzales. Well, Russ Callaway has been a defensive coach a lot of his career, first and foremost. And if you look back at the orange and blue game, who called plays for the orange team, the second unit, that would have been O'Hara, who was calling plays under Billy Gonzales. That game, though not televised, I have looked up the stats, and I do recall reading about it as it was happening, that there were records broken by passing yards, by receptions, and receiving yards. It was Dallas Wilson with 10 receptions, with 195 receiving yards, and Harrison Bailey with 363 passing yards, all with now our current play caller calling the plays. A reason that Billy Gonzales says that O'Hara is calling plays is he has the ear of none other than DJ Lagway. I went and watched him in high school, and the kid was phenomenal on a team that didn't have a whole lot of talent, I'll say. It's different in the SEC. I'm really excited to see what O'Hara calls. I think under Billy Gonzales, we'll go back to more of a spread offense, as I was mentioning, and I think that's exactly what we need. We have the tools for it, in my opinion, spreading the field with all of these playmakers. But my deal is, let's look at the remaining schedule. This weekend, obviously, is the cocktail party. It's number 5 Georgia in Jacksonville. Huge rivalry game. Last year, in spite of Billy Napier's play calling, we had them up against the ropes. I think we were up 14 when TJ Lagway got injured, and we know how that turned out. Should they be on the lookout for an upset this weekend? We'll see. Upset alert. Then we travel to Kentucky. Kentucky is in shambles right now with Mark Stoops. They're looking for anything to turn things around. Victory against Florida would be huge for him, but they also know where we are. I think that's a game that we do win. So let's just move forward. The game following the Kentucky game is none other than Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebels on the road in Lane's house. Could you imagine we put on a showing against Georgia, beat Kentucky, things look like we might have a chance in Oxford. I think we've got kids kicking field goals from money. We've got headgear going on. Pat McAfee, all the boys, college game day. I think we'll be in Oxford that weekend. Mark it. After that game, does it get any easier? Tennessee Volunteers. We all know how that goes. Another huge rivalry game. If our offense is even halfway productive, I think we have a shot in all of these games. I don't see why we shouldn't. And then the following week, it's at home against Mike Norvell if he still has a job, and the Florida State Seminoles. I don't see why we don't have 3 wins in this schedule. If we go 3-2, Billy Gonzales has to be looked at as the next coach. Do we need all the drama from Lane Kiffin and the buyout money and the giant contract? If we go 3-2, I believe Billy Gonzales should be, if not the number one, a top 2 to 3 contender for the head coaching job at the University of Florida. I don't see why not. You eliminate all of the buyouts. You eliminate all of the cat and mouse and back and forth and who's doing this and who's talking to who. And you already know who your coaching staff is. If he can win, the problem wasn't O'Hara. It wasn't Callaway. It wasn't Gonzales himself. It was Billy calling plays. That's what we've been complaining about all along. Well, now we're going to see a different side of this team with this staff. I don't think you lose all of our current players. I think you can bring in more recruits through the transfer portal and from high school. If you're winning, we're going to try to push forward and continue to win and grow the program to a national championship. Why can't Billy Gonzales be that guy? Let me know in the comments. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Happy Halloween. Let's go Gators.